we're sitting there strategizing, okay, how do we prepare? How do we keep hope and joy and wonder and curiosity alive for children? Because that is the lifeblood of building community. That's how you get the future doctors and engineers and innovators and artists. We have to have places where children can dream big about what their life will be.
Through the halls of memories, brushstrokes of history, capturing humanity. Stories left untold, whispers of the past, secrets they withhold. Yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. The condition report.
The first thing, and you just mentioned that, and I saw it on your website, 33 years. Now,
Yes. So our birthday is September 9th. So we're going into our 34th year.
wow. And
This fall, yeah.
how long have you been there?
So I've been with the museum a total of 4 years. I was here pre-pandemic. And then unfortunately, on top of COVID, my family, my mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Mhm.
And so I ended up taking a leave of absence in August of 2020. And my mom unfortunately passed away in 2021. And I was able to rejoin the organization in 2022.
Oh.
And this is actually a very interesting place for me to work because I was born and raised here in Southern Nevada. And I actually was a Discovery kid. I was 4 years old when they opened the first
Wow.
location of our museum. So it's
Wow.
kind of that full circle moment
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
of understanding what museums can mean for children and their future.
Yeah. And I mean, 33 years is a long time. Why do you think it's been so successful and still around?
I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Southern Nevada is, when people think of Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world, right? They're thinking
Sure.
of the Strip, they're thinking of performers and entertainers on the Strip. But I think when we talk about arts and culture, children's museums in general are vital to the culture and creating kind of connectedness and community for larger cities. I presume that people would consider Las Vegas a larger city.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think, people are desperate for things that are family oriented, right? Going down to the Strip is not always going to be a family centered event, right?
No,
So,
no.
giving people opportunities for a place that's just for children. Everything you see is for them to touch and play and interact with. There's no telling them no. We want them to be loud and boisterous and curious. And I really think that in the world we live in, especially today, that to me is something that I hold just so dear to my heart when it comes to just the way that children are being raised and the way that we're kind of, I think as a culture been like, grow up and be quiet and sit still and be polished and they're 5, and it's like, when I was 5, I was not just sitting still all of the time. None of us
Right.
were,
Right.
right? So I think, we're an integral part of the fabric of community and building community locally here. We're also a resource for tourists. So when people come to visit and they bring their children, which happens actually more than you would think, we have a lot of families coming in from all over the world. And I think that that's just such a beautiful testament to the importance of museums, that people from other places value and see the importance of places for children. And so, 20% of our annual visitorship comes through tourism.
Yeah.
From out of state. And then the other piece of why I think we're important when we talk about access means a lot of things to a lot of people. But when you look at the museum specifically, access for us is making sure that every child has the opportunity to experience hands-on learning and really have a place that feels like theirs, that we want the community to take ownership. So for us, when we look at access, Southern Nevada has a large population of low income and lower level middle class families that are working hard. They are living paycheck to paycheck. They are trying to raise children and do their very best. And so I think when you talk about giving families access to affordable choices for their kids to entertain their children, this is one of them. And you know, it's learning through play. So kids are having fun and they don't even realize they're learning. So that piece of our work too, I think access is just so important. And I think that's why we've stood the test of time. You know, Southern Nevada, I was born and raised here. I'm a native of Las Vegas.
Wow.
And this is a fascinating community. You know, we are young, we're scrappy, we're not a New York, we're not a Chicago, where, you know, lots of things have been kind of deeply rooted and cemented into the fabric of community. So for us, you know, we are doing our very best to ensure that we are a resource for the entire community, that people know we're here. It would surprise you, Ian, that a lot of people don't know that we're here. People are moving to our community. You know, we're still one of the fastest growing cities in the United States because we have a lot of land, a lot of development, a lot of companies moving here because it is an affordable place to house your business. So I think just making sure that people know that we're around, that's really, you know, a piece of the important work that we do. And you know, we still have a long way to go. I hope we have another 33 years ahead of us easily.
Yeah, I think you will. It's weird that people don't know that you're there because you're building on the outside, and we'll look at it in a minute. It's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful.
It is. It is. We have this just gorgeous marquee, and our emblem, I think, is just so, it's so touching to me. It's so powerful. I think even still today, you've got these two kids and they're looking through a little hand magnifying
Yeah, like a
glass at the
star,
sky.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and you know, just kind of like to share like a special story. The kids, the facade of those children and what they
Yeah.
look like. We worked with Yesco Sign Company. They're one of the most famous sign companies in the world because they do a lot of the neon signs on the strip, right? And we have a lot of old school signs and then a lot of new things going on. But when they were creating this, you know, marquee, if you will, with these children, they actually used two of their little kids as the models for what those children would look like.
Wow.
So,
That's cool.
whomever they are, I'm not quite sure who they are, but I thought that was really special. But I'll tell you, as downtown is really starting to grow and transform, I think our marquee, metaphorically speaking, becomes more important than ever because, you know, we are kind of being surrounded by a lot of different buildings and structures and exciting developments. And I think, you know, it's an exciting time, but we're really still trying to make sure that we're anchoring and centering and really becoming a part of that downtown true city community.
What happened in COVID in your area? Was it really bad?
Yeah, so COVID was wild, I think, for Las Vegas when you look at us as a city. So, fun fact, the Strip has never closed down ever except one time, and that was when John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
Oh,
So the
wow.
Strip went dark overnight
Yeah.
when that happened. And since then, the Strip has never closed. So you can imagine, Ian, the lifeblood of our community really has and continues to be hospitality and tourism. And so when those casinos shuttered and went dark, and the Strip was dead silent, you can imagine what a stark, you know, metaphor that was for the way that this impacted the world.
Mhm.
You know, the disconnectedness, the people not being able to see each other and talk to each other, learning how to do this Zoom thing, right? And
Right.
Teams and really utilizing the tools that we never really, I think, thought we'd have to use in that capacity to stay connected. But I would say for Southern Nevada, you know, it was a really scary time. I think like a lot of places across the United States, when you depend on that, when you have families, the working poor who are working hourly jobs in casinos and they now no longer have a job, you know,
Yeah.
some of the casinos, they had the financial resources to keep their team employed and keep them with health benefits. But I mean, you think about that, the impact. I mean, it's a lot of people being impacted really, really quickly. So I'll tell you, as the museum, we work, our favorite word is pivot. We are an amazing organization in that way because we just started to critically think about how we could reach children and families, how we could support the community, how we could support, you know, the companies and the individuals who do support the museum and help us keep our doors open. And so we, in a matter of a week, we set up a YouTube channel called At Home Discoveries. And every day, our staff, our learning team who would be on the floor and be greeting you and your children when you came through the door, they would would be in their kitchens and their libraries and their homes creating science experiments and reading books and doing art projects and telling the kids these are the types of things in your home you might have lying around. This
Yeah.
is how you can do this with us. And I've never been so proud to be a part of an organization in my life. It was, we all just were deeply concerned and deeply focused on how we could provide value to the community. And we didn't know when we would reopen. I don't think any of us knew, and I think just seeing the teamwork and the synergy and the collaboration that went into this. And then on the development side, I'm a fundraiser, right? So what can you sell if your doors aren't open? Well, I think, you kind of go in the opposite way. How can I reach out to our patrons and our donors and just check in on them? How are you doing? How is your family? Is there anything we can do to provide, a moment of reprieve, a moment of joy for your family? And it was beautiful. It was beautiful to connect with people on a very human level. When health scares happen, we all know this. Our health is the most precious gift that we have. And so it's the only thing money can't buy, right? Your health, you're in the hands of how you take care of your body, God, the universe, whatever you believe in. And I think to really see how fragile and precious life was at that point, it was a very profound moment, I think, for everyone. But being at the museum, we were closed for about 4 months.
Wow.
And our CEO and our board, I give them tremendous amounts of respect for their decision, but they kept all of us employed. They did not furlough, they did not lay off, they did not permanently reduce positions. They made a choice to use some of our reserves to keep our staff employed for, I think it was 3 months, 3 days, my goodness. So 3 months, 90 days. And I think that was a pretty powerful move. When you look across the US, a lot of people, they were jobless within 24 hours. There were, no health benefits. There was no support. And I think to myself how terrifying that must have been for so many people. And so knowing that our leadership saw the value of people. People are the magic. We are the reasons that this place is so fun and full of life. I will tell you, it's just one of those moments you say to yourself, this is why I work here. And this is why I love being here. And I love my colleagues, so much. And just to see that love kind of resonated out, and that value really understood, by leadership. It was a profoundly moving experience, to be on the team when that was, shared with our, at the time, I think 65-person staff.
Wow.
It's a big lift and it was a big risk. And, of course, in hindsight, in many years, now that we're at, what are we, 3 years out of this, you look back and, there was PPP and there were ARPA funds and there were dollars available for organizations that made that commitment to their staff to help us really keep our doors open and keep us moving in that first year. And we are so grateful. We are so grateful to know that, we were able to weather that storm, and I think, going into coming out of the COVID cloud and really reopening, and we opened in July of 2020, and to see those doors just flooded with children and adults that are like, get me out of the house, let me do fun things. It was really, it was special. And I think, when we talk about what nonprofit means to community and what places like museums mean, this is what it is. You never know what you have until it's not there anymore. And so I think, those moments of seeing families come in and parents just have this moment of okay, my kids can do something normal again. They can be in a space with other children playing and engaging. I mean, it was beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Yeah. And I can tell by that story, I think I'm starting to understand why your organization has been successful for over 33 years. Making decisions like that, keeping employees happy and taking care of them and letting them know that the organization cares. That's beautiful. It really is.
It is. It's, people, I think we are at a pivotal time in our world. I think we've all been kind of feeling this. It's been stirring since COVID. But I think, the most important resource, the most precious thing we have on this earth is our human beings. And I think Some of us learned those lessons, Ian. We learned that people are important, and some of us are still learning those lessons. And I think, that's the power of I think the work that we're doing is it never ends, right? The doors close at night and we're sitting there strategizing, okay, how do we prepare? How do we keep hope and joy and wonder and curiosity alive for children? Because that is the lifeblood of building community. That's how you get the future doctors and engineers and innovators and artists. We have to have places where children can dream big about what their life will be.
Your museum website says it's inclusive. But what happens if a guest doesn't speak English? The 42 Kites premium devices translates your exhibit text into over 100 different languages, even Zulu. Only at 42kites.com.
And one thing I really liked on your hand, and I had my wife write it on your hand, on your banner, I had my wife write on my hand. Ignite Wonder.
Yes.
That's really,
Yes.
that's really a beautiful saying. And from what you've said so far, I can see how what you guys are doing would ignite wonder in children. And it's really great.
It's it's funny that you just showed me that. I'm that's very touching to me because we're getting ready to do strategic planning, right? We do strategic plans every 3 years, just to reassess and see where we're at. And I'll never forget my first year at the museum. It was 2018. The world was good, life was good. None of the really hard, bad stuff had happened yet for me personally and professionally, and I think just for our world. And I think it was my first day on the job. We had this strategic planning meeting with our board. And they said, take Post-its, right? I'll never forget this. And they said, put them up on the wall. We want to build a new mission. We want to update our mission statement, our vision, our core values. And we always like hee and ha about, our little symbol and space and the kids looking up at the sky. And someone was like, a rocket ship is ignited into the air and that's how it goes. And so that's where that came from. And we were all, telling stories about when we were younger and what we would think of. And then just, we were looking at some images that we had taken over the years of kids in the museum, and the word wonder, that was one of my words.
Nice.
Was wonder. Children have this innate ability to be in awe of small, beautiful things. They have the ability to see the world unbiased. They see it for what it is. And I think, when we talk about that, our commitment to igniting wonder through learning, I think it's so important even for adults to realize that at some point in your being, in your life, you stop getting curious and you stop asking questions. And, we all know one of those kids, right? We all may have one of those kids. It's like, why? But why? And why? And they will ask you why 30 times. One of my little nieces is that way. She will never stop asking why. But I think it's important that we reframe that for adults, that when we stop being curious about each other, curious about the world, curious about why things are the way they are, that's when we stop finding solutions. And so I think wonder is something that should be part of your life for its entirety. Whether it's conversations with perfect strangers or watching a child have their first moment in our museum, right? We're on site. We're in this building every day. And sometimes you forget how cool this space is and what it was like the first time you came through the doors and went, whoa, this is awesome, And I think that that's something we strive to do, not only in our work in the four walls of the museum, but out in the community too, to really talk about the importance, the profound critical nature of education, right? It's not about getting kids to college or teaching them to a test and all of the very, very hard things that our educators are facing in the classroom. It's about creating and starting dialogue and curiosity in their mind about what could I be when I'm older? I love science. I love animals. I love nature. What are those things that set my heart on fire that could be a job in the future, And so I love that you had that on your hand. That was very uplifting. So uplifting.
And I like the other saying, it says spark curiosity. That's great too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My friends get so sick of me. They're like, the nonprofit in you comes out all the time, right? We're sitting at dinner and it's like talking about, the way of the world right now, right? Everyone, it's very divisive. It's very trying to rip people apart. It wants people to be apart. And I think, when you're curious and you ask someone questions, if you just stop and take the time to ask the questions, why do you feel that way? Was it something in your life when you were younger? Is it the way that you were raised religiously? Is it the way you were educated, right? Like education isn't just about reading, writing, arithmetic in the classroom, what Discovery does. Education is also about the way we learn to engage with each other. And I think it's, not to get political, but I think if we would take down those fear barriers, right? Because when we stop being curious, we lean into fear. I don't know why Ian is the way he is this way, and I'm not going to ask, right? Instead of saying, okay, Ian, I'm curious to know why you feel that way. Like I genuinely want to invest 10 minutes to seek to understand. And I think, trying to teach that in the space in which we work in, which is museums and education, and trying to create opportunities that maybe give children and their families a window to have more dialogue at home. I think that is just, it's so important. It's never been more important.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we take a look at your website for a second?
I would love that.
All right, let's do that because I want to show everybody something and I want you to explain something. So this is your home,
There it is.
this is your homepage. It's great.
Yes.
Let's talk about this because this is quite impressive. Events. Here's your event calendar. It's loading.
Yes.
So it's currently August 12th. Look
Yes.
at all these events that you have just in the month of August.
Yes.
That's amazing. So my question to you is, how do you manage all of those events?
Well, I will not take credit
Okay.
because
Who are
we
you
have
giving
an
credit for?
amazing team.
Yeah.
Yes. So our museum team right now is about 90 employees. So I first want to say, kind of what I alluded to earlier, that if we did not have the amazing team of people, educators, facilities people, front of house people, this place would cease to exist. So I think, number one is the people. The people are the energy behind it, the inspiration, the collaboration that makes these beautiful opportunities for children to have these, hands-on learning experiences. But I think it's also, we try our very best to see what's going on in the classroom day to day for children, right? And when we say children that we serve, the age range we're looking at is birth, take that for what you want, all the way up till about 12. So we serve those predominantly elementary school, early childhood, our preschool babies up to maybe the first year of middle school. So I think, taking a look at what they're learning in the classroom, right? Looking at the Nevada state standards, what are those like teaching points, teaching moments, and then kind of building from there. And I think the beauty of our team is we have so many former educators on our team, that were in the classroom with children. And so to see people who know what it is day to day in the classroom to translate these opportunities for children into like these hands-on learning through play experiences is just really beautiful. And so it's a heavy lift, Ian. I will tell you, we literally could not do this work without our team and their creative brains and the way our facilities team, keeps this museum beautiful. People crack me up. So I do not have children, but a lot of my friends and many of our donors do. And they're always like, this place smells clean and it's not sticky and dirty. And I'm laughing because, right, like I don't have children. I don't know what that experience is, but they always give us these really nice compliments about what the physical building is like. And I think that just, kind of goes back to that testament of like, it takes a village to really make this place come to life and make it sparkle and shine and give it the kind of extra little oomph of magic and possibility that, we're trying to do every day.
Well, I think you're doing a good job. So talking about the actual building here. So here's your floor
Yes.
plan.
Yes.
Fantasy Festival. And it's 3 levels, right? Second floor.
Yes.
Wow.
So The museum, we like to say, very pun unintended, that the museum, we want children to grow with us. So that's a metaphor for them coming and enjoying the museum for many, many years of their young lives. But it's also, if you look at the way that our floors and galleries are laid out, it is kind of the idea that our first floor is really for our youngest learners, our little itty bitties that are just starting to really kind of experience the world, right? The magic of a child, a young child, there's nothing like it, to see them really be in awe and wonder of things, right? Like our ball launcher in Waterworld, the ball goes up and you'll hear these little voices just laughing and cackling and like talking to mom and dad. Did you see that? And so, a lot of our galleries, our Waterworld gallery, which I'm referring to right now, our Toddler Town and our Fantasy Festival are really geared towards that early childhood. Think literacy, think hands-on, like fine motor skills, really focusing on a younger child. And each gallery kind of has a theme and kind of a special learning, if you will, right? So our Toddler Town is actually our only age restricted gallery. We ask families to keep children 5 and under only in that space. And that's really by design. We want our youngest learners to have, when they're learning to walk and they're little, we don't want them getting plowed over by a kid, which, it looks like an NFL scene sometimes when these kids are just moving and grooving so fast. And so really giving an opportunity for children to experience. We do a program called Toddler Tales every Friday where there's a book that they read. There's a musician that plays music that goes with the story theme. And then sometimes we have artists come in and they do art projects every week. But we'll change up the artist from our local community that come in and do this. And then Fantasy Festival is my favorite gallery. I'm a theater girl. I grew up around music and the arts, and so that is just think theater stage. We've got a castle, we've got a pirate ship. One of my favorite features of the gallery is that our castle and our pirate ship are ADA accessible. So if a child was in a wheelchair or had braces or was on crutches, maybe for some reason, they actually can be lifted up to the second level and enjoy that with other children. It's so special. We've had some really beautiful feedback from children, families who have children who are disabled and able together. It's been really beautiful. And then just really, really allowing children to do what we all did, right, in our bedroom growing up. I'm a princess and I'm a pirate and I'm a football player and I'm writing the greatest story that the world will ever know. And so that gallery is really, one of our most beloved. We have a puppet show every day at 4 p.m. Families and children can come down. They are written, produced, and acted by our staff. And they go from every topic of like sustainability and how to be good to our earth and our world to how being kind to one another matters. Really trying to hit on some of those social, emotional topics and do it in a subtle, playful, and creative way. And then Waterworld, of course, is really it is probably parents' least favorite because the kids get very wet. But lots of water tables, interactions. We're actually getting ready to reimagine that gallery. So in November of this year, 2024, it will close down and it will be closed to the public, and we will reopen in March of 2025. And the gallery right now talks about the Hoover Dam and how water powers the city and what that looks like. And we're going to really be kind of reimagining the dialogue to talk about water as a precious resource, what it means to conserve water, to be good stewards of water, not leaving our sink running all day, making sure that we're having eco-friendly landscape. What does that mean to a city? Where does water come from? A lot of people don't know that we get our water from the Colorado River. So we're very excited about that. That's one of our big projects up and coming. And, I hope the community will be patient and excited with us as we, kind of reimagine. But as you go up the other floors, the second and third floor, it really kind of grows. The exhibits get a little more dynamic, a little more hands-on, lots more reading, a lot of visual reading cues, and the activities kind of mature as the child ascends the museum's 3 floors. And what's really cool also is we have a giant, we call it a climber. Right now it's called the Summit. This climber goes 12 different levels throughout the 3 stories of the museum. museum. It is wild. There is everything under the sun you can think of to do in there. Obviously a focus on physical activity and getting kids moving.
Yeah.
That project will actually, that exhibit, we just publicly announced this actually last week, so this is perfect timing. But we will be completely redoing the climbing tower in late 25, early 2026. And we're going to rename it the Desert to the Stars. So for
Nice.
all of our friends who love being outdoors, you and I were talking earlier about travel and loving the outdoors. It will really pay homage to Southern Nevada's beauty, the beauty of the desert and Red Rock and the animals and the plants that kids can see. And the climber will essentially go all the way up to the stars where they can actually stargaze at the top. And again, focused on physical activity and talking about outside and encouraging children, inspiring children to get outside, talking about the indigenous people of Southern Nevada, the Southern Paiute tribe and our Western Shoshone tribe. So it's going to be beautiful. And I think that's kind of the interesting nature of the museum is in our world, every 10 years, we want to kind of reassess, reevaluate if what we're doing is relevant, pertinent for children for the future of what the world will be. And I think, we're just really excited to have the opportunity to play a small part in the bigger discussion of what that looks like and really helping them dream big about their future.
Wow. You're really selling this place. This is good.
I hope you all will come visit us. We
Yeah.
we are here, and it's a treasure. People say we're the gem of Southern Nevada, and I think that's so beautiful. And I think that's a lot of really big responsibility to make sure that we're continuing to do what we say we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have children. Can I go without kids?
You can come visit us, Ian. So all we do is we ask that when you come, if you have a friend like me that works there, you come see us. But yes, you can visit the museum and come in. We hold your driver's license at the front desk. It's no big deal. So we know who you are and who's coming in. And we also, if you're ever for our locals, for those coming out of town, for parents with small children who are easily persuaded to buy things, we have a beautiful gift shop. We have a lot of really special curated toys and activities and workbooks and drawing sets, and we're tax free. So that's always my little selling point to people if they're looking for a gift for children.
Nice. Now, and let's share my screen just real quickly here.
Yeah.
On your Instagram page, you have this very cool sort of zooming in from the world.
Yes, our
That's
aerial
outside.
drone. Oh, there, so you get to see our marquee and our little guys hanging out on the front of the building. Isn't that beautiful?
That is very cool. And then this is about parking. And then we have a little item down here, how to get parking at the Children's Museum for free. Is parking an
Yes.
issue? Is parking an issue where you are?
So it's not, I wouldn't say it's an issue. What I would
Mhm.
say is, and this conversation's kind of evolved, right, as the campus. So we sit on the Symphony Park campus. We are attached to the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. They are our friends in arts and culture. They actually were a huge proponent of allowing us to really dream about moving the museum to downtown. Because the museum of my childhood was the Lead Discovery Children's Museum. This was on Las Vegas Boulevard, down across from Cashman Field. Cashman Field is still there. We were actually originally attached to a library. It was beautiful. So you could go to the library and you could go into the museum, and it was just this really, really gorgeous kind of synergy with learning and literacy and all of those great pieces. But we officially relocated to this location in 13. We opened our doors in March of 2013. And so parking, when you come down, we have a garage attached to the museum. And that is the only garage we can validate parking, right? Everybody loves free parking. All of my
Yeah.
friends like you from bigger cities, you know what that's like, street parking, all of
Yeah.
those things. So the parking is accessible. It's right next door. We have a map on our website, literally, like you said, the cute little video that shows you where to go.
Right.
But we also have a city garage across from us, and the challenge has become, right, that we do not validate for that garage. So that's my only mention. If parking and not paying for parking is a huge deal, you want to park in the garage that's attached to our building. It's off to the south side of us, whereas the city garage is just west of us. It's literally right across the street.
Okay. Let's actually take a look at that because I clicked on this before. Let's go to virtual tour, and I know it actually let's do this because it starts outside. Let me click.
Yes.
So,
So this is the street
oh,
view.
let me stop it. Stop talking. So yeah, look at the outside of this building.
Isn't it
Gorgeous.
beautiful?
Yeah. And
We're very proud of this. The Reynolds name on the building, they made this possible. So
oh,
when we moved into this building, it was over $40 million that they committed to helping us build out this space. And
now
yes, so if you see the purple awnings right there, see the little silver awning right past it, that's actually where you would park. Yep, right
here
there
over
where the
here.
mouse is.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
go in those doors, and that's the parking garage. And then if you toggle over, that's right, and you keep
Wait,
going
wait,
the
this
other
way?
way. Yep.
Yeah.
And you keep coming around.
Okay,
I
it's
think you
like
can see.
across the
So
street.
see, there's that's the city garage. So and actually see this
Mhm.
empty lot to my right. When
Over
I'm
here.
staring at your screen, this is now a Marriott. They are building a Marriott hotel right there.
Oh wow.
And it has been really fun because they've got big cranes and all of the big construction things going on, and kids, are stopping and
Yeah,
marveling
yeah,
at
yeah.
what's going on over there. So we have a Marriott right next door. So when you come visit us, this will look a little different.
Okay. And so how far down is the museum? So I'd imagine this is one end of it, right here.
Yep.
Okay.
And
And
then you
then
just keep coming. Yeah,
right.
we're 50, let's see, 58,000 square feet in our entirety. Our entire staff is housed on site. So 26,000 square feet of that is usable space for the guests. That includes all the galleries, all of the floors. And then the other 20,000 and some change is really the space for we have a big facilities, a big loading dock, all of our offices, all of our support. We've got support closets and rooms throughout. But it's a big building. We are considered a
Yeah.
large children's museum.
Wow. Yeah, it seems like it. So let's do this. Show me where your favorite place is, because we can go inside, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, let's go in. So I
Open
guess
the door.
we can go through. We can stay on the first floor.
Where should I
Let's see. Oh, so this is reminiscent of COVID. So if you go to your left, if we go to the
go?
left and we go through this little metal detector and straight forward and
All
through.
right. I think I can
This
click on
does
this.
not
Oh,
exist.
sure.
There we go. Yes. So here we go. If you go straight,
Go
there's Water
straight.
World we were just talking
Oh
about.
yeah, look at that.
See our
Yeah.
big ball launcher there. It's so
Yeah.
fun. That is staying. We are going to still have one of those. Never fear.
Okay.
The famous ball launcher will not be going away. It's getting a little facelift. But
Good.
if you go straight back, Fantasy Festival that I was talking about, that's really I would say my favorite gallery. Yep,
Okay.
there it is. Look at that. So a theater person's wildest dreams.
Okay.
A stage and a
Yep.
ship, and it's really, really, really a fun gallery,
Cool.
really fun and activated.
Wow. So kids can go in here?
Yep, so they can go into both,
look at
climb and see. You can really kind
Yeah.
of see what's going on our second level there in the castle. You can see down.
Yeah.
We do have some little upgrades, see, and then there's our lift for our children who might need support
Oh
getting
yeah,
up.
yeah, over here, right? The wheelchair lift.
In the back, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
great.
can there it is, yeah.
Cool.
So pardon me, the castle and the ship are getting some little cosmetic facelift, if you will, refresh in the next year, I think. But for the most part, what you see there, barring all of the fun special COVID things that we needed to do at that time, what you see really is what is there, and it's beautiful, so beautiful. It's so colorful.
Yeah.
Lots of excitement and noise going on in our building too.
Yeah. Well, that's good, right? That means kids are having fun.
It does. They are. And it's again, we want to be a place where kids feel like they can just be themselves and just relax and not stand up straight and be quiet and sit down and that's really, the furthest thing from what we're hoping in our space.
Yeah. I saw this picture and this looks fun. So I'm assuming it's some sort of magnet behind a clear plexiglass kind of a sheet.
Yes.
And
So
she's
this
moving
is
the magnet?
this is in our Eco City. So like many children's museums, we have a small city on the second floor, and we have that gallery specifically that darling child was in is our hospital. So Intermountain Health. is our sponsor of our hospital. And it's very fun for all of my like 70s and 80s babies. We have a life-size operation game where the kids can
Cool.
go in and kind of get the different little body parts out without setting off the little alarm. But very cute. That wall she was actually standing at is talking about different health opportunities for us to keep our bodies healthy and strong, right? So brushing our teeth, going to our annual checkup, things like that. And again, it's in English and Spanish. And so, yes, they have to take the little ball and kind of maneuver it down with the magnet again. So really, trying to keep learning. We want learning to be fun. I think learning can be very, very engaging and fun. And so seeing that photo makes me laugh because kids are always in there trying to see if they can, get the ball through the little maze.
So help me find what you were just talking about. It sounded really fun. Where is this sort of operation fun thing? What
Okay,
floor?
so second floor.
So I have
You're gonna
to,
go.
how do we
Yep.
change floors? Here we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Second
And
floor, and then
and it's Eco City. See the
Ego
gallery
City.
down to
Let's,
the left?
I'm assuming I just click. Okay, here we go. Where
So
can I go?
let's
I want
see.
to check it
If you
out.
toggle around
All
to
right.
keep coming, you'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
So this is actually, so the Raiders Stadium, you're going to see this, and then this is going to say Sunrise Children. So our virtual tour is getting an update, and this is why. See, if you look at the Raiders exhibit right there, it's construction driven, right? Like when they were building the stadium.
Okay.
Now we really have a full look of what's in the stadium. So that one has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And then if you go to the right a little bit, there's the hospital. And when you come in, you won't see it on this one, unfortunately, but see where the little checkup table is right there? In the
Uh,
center, that's now our little
okay.
operation game.
Okay.
So, and that wall right there with that big graphic to the right, that's where that fun little maze exhibit is. So this Intermountain has been in that space for the last 3 years. So this virtual tour actually happened during COVID, and it's so kind of amazing to see how much the museum has evolved even in 3 years,
Yeah.
4 years, I suppose. Here we are in 2024, but the fun never stops, no matter what the
Fun
exhibit
never
looks
ends.
like.
I will talk about your background in a second, but I
Yeah.
was interested in this. This is a Wells Fargo bank exhibit. So
Yes.
I'm assuming that they are sponsoring that for you.
Yes.
How did
Yes.
that
So
how did that come along?
yeah, we're really fortunate to have a lot of amazing sponsors that sponsor a variety of things going on in the museum, but specifically in Eco City, I call it our NASCAR. So it's really the only place in the museum that you'll see big, logoed monograms of companies that children would see in a community. So a bank, a dental shop, we have the hospital, the Raiders Stadium, we have a car care center that's sponsored by Subaru, and a grocery store. And so these sponsors have been with us depending on their length of time. Wells Fargo's one that's been with us for over 20 years. So
Wow.
they actually were in the old museum, the museum of my childhood, and they came over to our new location. We've been there 11 years now, but it's really a fun opportunity for companies to showcase what they do. And the mantra kind of in Eco City, right, is work a job to make a paycheck. What are the jobs we could do in this specific business? How do we do those jobs? And then really also talking about how a city is really connected. So whether I own a grocery store and you own a bank and someone else owns a beauty shop, how do those things work together? If I'm working in the shop, I'm making my paycheck there. I may come over to your grocery store, I'm buying groceries there. So really getting kids thinking about how things in our city are connected. And again, workforce development is a huge piece of what we do when it comes to learning. We want kids to start thinking about the things that they're interested in that could translate into jobs in the future.
If something bad happens to one of your Premium 42 Kites devices, we'll send you a new one at no cost. Even if it gets eaten by a kangaroo. They can be mean. Only at 42kites.com.
if another museum is watching this, or when a kid grows up and they need to get a sponsor for something in
Yes.
their life, how do we do that? Because you guys have really big sponsors. You have a sponsor, but you know what? Let's just share the screen. You have a
Yeah.
sponsor page here, and I'm not going to read all of them because there's so many, but you
Yeah.
guys have really connected with some amazing organizations. And it just keeps
We
going and
It
going.
just goes and goes. Yeah. And this is, I would say, I
How
think
does that
we're
how
at,
does that happen?
it's, I've been in fundraising for 15 years. This is my 15th year doing this work. And I will tell you, it's all relationships. My best advice to people is that whether you're selling, this phone or this earring or whatever you're selling, right? Because fundraising really is selling. We are selling an idea that when we invest in children, the world becomes a better place. And so I think for me, I've been profoundly grateful to be in this work, to really create immediate and ongoing change in community. And I think for me, it's relationships. It's all relationships. So when you're going to ask somebody for something, right, it's kind of the game Mother May I. You want to show value, you want to show excitement, you want to show energy behind what you're doing. And I think, and Ian, you're doing this. This is really how it is, right? Storytelling, talking to people about what and why and how they've done what they've done. And I think, when I started at the museum many years ago, my favorite thing to ask people when I would be touring them through our building and it would be loud and lively and children would be laughing and playing, I'd say, do you remember what you wanted to be when you were a kid? When I grow up, I want to be. Remember, we all had that in school where they'd ask you. And you'd hear these people that work for a casino or people who are working for an engineering firm saying, I wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be a ballet dancer, and I wanted to be a doctor, and like seeing how life evolves, right? And our interests maybe change. And I think it's so beautiful. It's so important to remember, not to be too cheesy, but to remember the little version of you. And, would they be proud of what you're doing today? Would they be inspired by the person that you've become? And I think, when we talk about museums and children and what this really equates to, this is, in so many words, a place where we want children's dreams to come to life. And so if that's them playing pretend in the pirate ship and them learning, oh, maybe I want to work on a ship one day. I want to be in the Marines. I want to be in the Navy. I want to be a captain of a boat. You just never know. I always tell people, you never know what kids are going to be. You never know who they're going to be. And I think, when I am selling what we do, what I'm really doing is just sharing the story of how this place plays a small part impacting and inspiring children's future.
Wow.
And that's really it. And I will tell you, no matter what business you're in, relationships are everything. When you take the time to care about others, to just learn about them and understand, do you have kids? What was your upbringing? Again, back to our earlier conversation, what makes you tick? That really allows you to create a meaningful relationship and a meaningful partnership. And I can tell you every single one of the sponsors on that page, and there's so many more. That's just a small piece of the bigger list that we have. I think it's important to recognize that each of them, their stories are woven into the work that we do. And that's so beautiful when you think about it, to know that we're all so connected and there's so many ways that we can literally impact each other's lives on a daily basis. You just got to look for the opportunities.
Yeah. And what you said just a minute ago, would your younger self be proud of like who you are now? That's great advice for adults,
It is. And honestly, Ian, I will tell you, again, I look at the world around me. I look and reflect on my life and the things I've been through. I've watched my friends, my family go through unbelievable things, good and bad. And I think that, a lot of my friends have young children and they're watching us, right? I always am so cognizant when, even in the museum, they're watching what we do. They're watching us. They're looking to us to show them the way. And so, I think it's so important for adults to not forget that children are watching you and they want to be like you. And so are you a great example? You know, am I a great example for my little nieces and my nephews and my god baby and all the people around me? You know, am I doing my best? I think we forget sometimes that doing our best is important, and taking pride in ourselves and taking pride in our work. That is so valuable, you know,
Yeah.
to the human experience.
Yeah. And I know that before you were at this organizations, I know, and I thought this was very interesting. You worked at Home Aid Southern Nevada and you helped build shelters.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, it feels like a lifetime ago. I think I started there like a decade ago.
You
It
did.
was a lifetime for all intents and purposes. But my nonprofit career has taken me in a lot of directions, and I feel so grateful. I feel so humbled that I've been able to do this work in a myriad of ways. And so at HomeAid, I was very lucky to work hand in hand with our local Home Builders Association, made up of builders and subcontractors and amazing partners in the community. You know, from you, when you think about, right, buying a home, it's the builder, it's the GC, it's the subs, it's the lenders that are helping make these projects viable with cash. And that job was just such an amazing synergy of the people who are literally building our community, right? So all of these guys and gals and these companies would come together, and we would build and renovate shelters and common spaces, really important places, affordable housing for the military, veterans, children, families, women. We did a project at Catholic Charities with a men's shelter, but it was incredible. My favorite project we ever did was actually with US Vets. That's a national organization. I'm sure you have one in Florida. They do really important work to support our men and women who have bravely, you know, defended this country. And that project specifically, we built and renovated a giant kitchen, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. First of all, you talk about relationships and storytelling. You know, I'd walk into the project and our team would be working, and for all intents and purposes, I kind of helped project manage in addition to raising the donations and the in-kind support. And one of the guys, retired guy from the Army, loves to cook. He grew up in the kitchen with his mom, he told me. And when the kitchen was finished, he was there on the opening day and the ribbon cutting. And it was, he had tears in his eyes. You know, he said, this is, to know that the community cares enough for us to have a beautiful, clean place to prepare meals for each other, is just moving. It's deeply moving. And of course, he made me cry. I mean, I'm nonprofit. I cry at everything. You know, I can cry on a dime, but it just it was one of those moments. And to see the home builders and the subcontractors put together the fact that what they do, their skill set, their generosity, created this space for these men and women. I mean, they had tears in their eyes. And just to see, I think the importance of philanthropy and nonprofit, Ian, is that we give the community, the everyday man and woman, the everyday busy corporation, the opportunity to find their humanity and to connect with people who may not have everything. They may not have all the resources. And the idea that our one purpose on this earth is to take care of each other. That saying has been present in my life from the way I was raised in my family to being in theater. We always say, take care of each other when we go on stage and we're performing for live audiences, take care of each other. And I think in nonprofit, that mantra has never been more real to me than in the world, the ever-changing world that we live in today. And I think we have a duty to each other as human beings to take good care of each other, because we are the most precious resource that we have on earth. And so lots of fun in that job, lots of adventures, lots of really tough guys that don't cry and don't have any emotions. We'd get them into these places and to see their faces and to realize that they've been given this opportunity to impact others and to see it with their eyes, to see these people, to hear their stories. Oh, it was beautiful. I will never take for granted the immense opportunity I had to do that work.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful. Let's talk about this. I think this is interesting and talking about connections and being part of the community. Discovery on Wheels. So
Yes.
tell me about this. I'm assuming it's the Discovery Children's Museum goes out to local schools in the Vegas area. Is that correct?
You nailed it. So
Perfect.
this program, let's see, this program was actually founded by a doctor and his beautiful wife, Dr. Joe and Joan Lappin. He was a local pediatrician in Southern Nevada, and he saw the need to continue to remove fear for children when they're going to the doctor or if they get sick or they get hurt and they have to go to the hospital. The importance of children understanding that your body is strong and healthy and sometimes things happen, and making sure that kids understand, that removing the fear from going to the doctor and also how to keep and maintain a healthy body. And so Discovery on Wheels was born. This program is in its 15th year this year. And basically it's twofold. So number one, we do go into the classroom. You nailed it, Ian. We go into pre-K through fifth grade classrooms in local schools. And we do everything from Title I schools that are fully subsidized all the way to private schools and charter schools. We do offer this program completely free to the Clark County School District, all of the schools, elementary schools in Clark County School District. But every year we go in, and what's really cute is each grade level has a special learning. So I think one of them is Bright Smiles. It's all about our teeth and what our teeth and our mouth function is, how we keep our teeth strong, how we keep our body strong, and with keeping our teeth nice and clean. Talking to kids about the importance of oral hygiene. We have the pre-K program is just darling. It's called I think it's called Marvelous Me. I might be wrong, but it's all about yoga. It's mini yogi sessions about moving your body and how does this body move and function. And it's just really precious. And all the way up, I think, to our fifth grade lesson is about genetics, right? So why are my eyes green? Why is my hair brown? Why do we look as, the beautiful specimens we are in front of each other? What makes us look this way? And I'm really excited to tell you that because this program has been such a success in the elementary school grade levels, we are actually this fall piloting a middle school program. So
Wow.
we're going into, for middle school in Southern Nevada is sixth grade through eighth grade. And we will be really diving into like careers and really diving into that piece of what the health sciences look like. So you've got lab techs that are really testing blood and specimens to see what's going on. You've got doctors, you've got nurses, you've got medical examiners that are going out when crises happen. So really trying to give our older kids kind of a peek behind the curtain and really inspiring them to maybe get into the health sciences. We are like every other major city. We have a doctor and nursing shortage here. As the city grows, the demand for healthcare grows, and we need great providers. We need competent medical professionals. And so the hope, Dr. Joe and Joan Lappin have passed away many years ago, but their legacy has lived on through this program and their commitment to children and really inspiring them through the health sciences. And I think it's beautiful. And so when we're not in the classrooms Monday through Friday, we're out in the community at different outreach events. So our Discovery team will either take some of the health sciences learning programs and modules, or they will bring arts, some cultural learnings, and we're out every year. And so we serve about 40,000 children and families annually through that program. We serve about 10,000 students pre-K through fifth right now through the Discovery on Wheels House Calls program. And, again, you made a great point. We got to take this magic and the learning outside of the four walls. Not every child may be able to come in and see us all the time. So this is another really, really nice touch point with the community to really say and do what we say we're doing, which is reaching every child in Southern Nevada.
Wow. Yeah, that's important. So I know that you said that you're going to be upgrading Waterworld soon,
Yes.
but
Yes.
what is the next big thing? What's coming down the road that we should all know about?
Yeah. It's a great question. It's so we've been in this kind of, for lack of a better term, refresh campaign for the last 3 years. We in COVID, people kind of find this interesting. We decided to do feasibility study on our building, and we felt like it was the perfect time to do so, right? Because as the world changes, we have to change and morph and kind of flow with the demands of what the world is for children. And so we did a feasibility study. Feasibility study is a big fancy term for watch and see, right? We had people sitting in different parts of our museums, hired professionals to really watch what children engaged with in galleries, right? So you had some children in galleries that were really, really excited about a specific exhibit, right? That signaled to us, this is working. This is really good. And so why I share that is the feasibility study, right? We didn't just make things up. We're not just redoing and renovating and changing things because we feel like it. It's by design. And there's a lot of method to our madness. And so when we got our feasibility study back, one of the things that they said, right, is the climber. I mentioned that earlier. They said, we got to upgrade this thing for safety, for usability, really for the learnings that are happening. There's really nothing in our museum that just says Nevada. So that will really be our kind of paying homage to our community and what the desert has to offer. Water World, of course, going from how does water power the city to conservation of water and being good stewards. Sustainability is very, I think, important for children as we kind of meander down whatever this world is going to evolve into. And then on the third floor, we actually opened a brand new gallery in November called Energy Energía in Spanish for those very proficient, lovely Spanish speakers. And this was this gallery holds a lot of sentiment for us because it was our first major undertaking with this refresh of our museum. It's our first fully bilingual gallery. So from the start, it was Spanish and English, which for us is really, it's very powerful to see that happening from inception. And then the third piece of it, and the most important piece, is the learning, talking about energy sources and what does that look like and how does energy impact a city if you don't have a healthy energy mix, right? Whether it's plant power, water power, gas, electric. What does that look like? And one of our proudest moments, I think, with this gallery, in addition to the wonderful learnings and exhibits and everything that the kids are going to get to do, is really the partnership and synergy. We have NV Energy, we have Southwest Gas, we have Tesla, we have the Lincoln Dynamic Foundation. So you have all of these really, really diverse and dynamic donors coming together to bring this gallery to life. And it's beautiful. It's been open since November of 2023. In our world, when we're learning, we call it failing forward. So if something doesn't work, it's not a failure. It's not failure in the way we knew it back when we were kids. Oh, you messed up. It's wrong. No. We don't do that. It's failing forward. So what can we take from our learning here to improve this and make it better? And so we've actually gotten to put failing forward into practice in this gallery, as exhibits are out on the floor, as kids are playing with them, really learning what works, what doesn't, if things are sturdy enough, if they're checking that learning box. We've had a lot of learning in that space, and I'm really just proud of our team, the way that they've kind of made that a really exciting gallery for our guests, really activated a bright, vibrant space to really learn about energy and the properties of energy.
Yeah, let's take a look at it because it does seem rather exciting.
Yes, there it is.
Energy. So we have a responsive wall.
We do. It changes colors, and you see the little graphic on the floor. Each of us would have a different energy source that we are representing as we're walking in. It's very, very cool.
Okay. And then Light brights are amazing.
Amazing. We had to do something for our little itty bitty learners, and they absolutely love it. Adults love it too.
Photosynthesis.
Yep, our living plant wall.
A turbine sculpture. Does that move? Does it spin around?
It does. So that is really exactly what you just said, showcasing how turbines work. I know a lot of kids see the big windmills. If you go from Nevada to California, there's a lot of those. And so what does that look like? There's a station too, if you scroll down a little bit, where the kids can actually make their own wind turbine. But as you can see, lots of learning. There it is.
Which one right here? Energy. Which one?
If you go down just one more on the left, the wind table.
Gotcha.
So you get to create your own wind turbine and really turn them and adjust them to make the wind move it. But
Cool.
that's one of my favorites. I always get a kick out of that. But it is the gallery is beautiful. It's less than a year old. I encourage everyone. I always tell people, depending on kind of what your child's interested in, you can either start at the top of the museum and work your way down, start from the bottom and go up. Some families are all over the place all day. I think there's really no one size fits all. You just kind of have to figure out what works best for you and your child.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the museum is a nonprofit, so we have to make sure that people donate to keep this going because this is a beautiful place for kids.
It is, a big misconception. I think a lot of museums face this across the country is that we're an attraction, right?
Right.
We're a fun, cool place to go, and we have big, huge corporate giants behind us that just fund this, and that could not be further from the truth. We are a tried and true nonprofit, and I think what's unique about being local, right? We're not a franchise. A lot of people ask that question. There's Discovery museums all over the country, but we are not franchised. We're not affiliated. We're all just doing the same great work in a different way. But every time you come through our doors, whether you buy a ticket, you buy a membership, you book your birthday party there, we host birthdays a lot, you buy something in the gift shop, or you donate to the development team and do a large or small gift. No gift is too large or too small for us. Every dollar that we raise, that we bring in the door goes right, it's infused right back into the work that we do. And I think, I've worked for a lot of organizations, some that are larger and nationally based. And I think, being from Southern Nevada, being a Discovery kid myself back in the day, realizing and recognizing that the money we're raising goes right back into what we're doing here in our local community. It's precious. We are, Southern Nevada is a very small town trapped in a big city facade with Las Vegas. And, the people here are deeply devoted to this community and ensuring that it's going to be sustainable and be here for many years to come. And so, we have a lot of pride in the work that we do. And I think, I always tell people, if you just step through the doors, if I can just get you through the front door, this place sells itself. I mean, it's beautiful. It's exciting. There's something about the energy of children. Children are hopeful and they see the world through that lens. And I think, if I'm ever having a rough day in my office, I just go downstairs and I just watch what the kids are doing, and it
Yeah.
just uplifts me immediately,
Mhm.
And, but yeah, being a nonprofit, we're going to celebrate our 34th birthday on September 9th of 2024. We turn 34. It's a big deal. I think when you look at a community like ours that's still learning and evolving and growing, to be in the community for over 3 decades is a monumental achievement. And I think all of the people, we've from our donors to the Reynolds Foundation on our building, to our board, to our staff, the people that volunteer, that come to the museum to volunteer every week, every single person is a little piece of our heart. And I think that they are woven into the fabric of the work that we do. And, the hope is always, right, in a million years when I leave and this place is still going, that we've left it better than we received it, and that we've created a legacy and an opportunity for children and families to really have this beautiful learning experience together.
Wow. That's right. I think we need more passion in the world, and I can tell that you're passionate about what you do, and it's great to see.
Thank you for that. Yeah, there is no shortage of enthusiasm over here, Ian. And I'll tell you, I think, I know we were talking earlier, life circumstances and what we do for a living and our health and all of the things kind of collide. And I think, for me, COVID was a very illuminating time, and it feels like a lifetime ago. It was only 4 short years ago, but it's perspective is a powerful thing, right? To know what the world could be, what has happened, and the way that we're trying to move forward. I think we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to each other as human beings to be excited about life, because living is a gift in and of itself. Being able to walk and run and laugh and talk and come together to do beautiful things like the museum and create a space for children that's safe and it's fun and it's exciting. We owe it to ourselves to be excited and on fire about life, because living it's so worth it,
Yeah. Wow. Is there anything else we should talk about? Because I feel like the words you just said will be great to end the episode.
I love it. No, and scene.
And scene. You did it.
Done.